Hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of Vampire the Requiem. This is episode 7, and tentative title's probably gonna be The Prince's Birthday, because today's the Prince's birthday party. Uh, I'm here with 2 out of 3 of my players. We're eventually going to add Patrick into the group, but he was busy with other things tonight. So I will send it over to my players and let them tell you who they are. And we'll start with Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin. I'm playing Winter Jameson. She is a vampire of the Invictus Covenant and Deva clan, and she owns a vampire themed goth nightclub in New York City.
And then Melody.
I'm Melody. I play Misty Dragonstone. I am a Covenant Order Dracul, playing a Ventru, and I'm a horse rancher owner in Louisville, Kentucky, who is in New York at this time.
So, um, by way of a little background to remind everybody of all the chaos that's going on right now. Um, we have gangrels killing people in the park in Washington Square Park and on the subway. We have uh, the Seven and the Strix having conflicts between each other. And those two groups don't even show up unless there's something big about to happen. Um, we've seen a maquette or two wandering around spying on people.
We've got Circle of the Crone members doing rituals.
Yeah. Also in Washington Square Park. A busy park over where you are. Uh, and in the middle of this, um, Winter and Dexter and Natalie are trying to keep the club running. They just opened their RIP section, had the grand opening on the last episode. And Natalie has gone over recently to train the prince's bar staff for the upcoming birthday party because he enjoys Natalie's drinks when he pops into the club now and again. Which, because of that, Winter is becoming very popular in the vampire community because the club must be doing extremely well if the prince is, hanging out there now and again. Um, So, as usual, the night opens with you, Dexter, and Natalie waking up and starting your evening getting ready to go open the club. And as per usual, Dexter is clomping around because he gets up a little bit before the two of you do. And he doesn't spend as much time getting ready as the two of you do. So, you and Natalie grudgingly open your eyes, and then what happens?
Well, I guess we ought to get going. Club's not going to open itself.
Yeah,
Although that might be good for business, a self-opening club.
could be open 24 hours a day.
Right.
Pro- Natalie says the only problem with that is drinks don't pour themselves either.
Couldn't we figure out a way to make that happen too?
So the two of you climb out of bed. Which one of you is gonna head for the bathroom first?
I'll let Natalie take a shower first.
So you wander out of the bedroom into the kitchen and you see Dexter standing there. Um, he's the lower half of him is dressed. He has his pants and his boots on, but he's not wearing a shirt. And he's standing there leaning against the fridge with a mug of blood in his hand. And he goes, "Hey, how are you two tonight?"
Uh, Doing pretty good. I guess the princess party's tonight.
Yeah. What are we gonna do with the club with the three of us at the party?
Well, we'll just have to close early
Do
or
we,
not open.
do we,
Just stick a notice on the door saying we're closed for the night and call it good.
do we even know when the prince's birthday party is happening?
I'm assuming it's on the invitation. We have that around here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay. Oh, while you're doing that, you want me to pour you a drink?
Yes,
Shall we
please.
say? Um, so he reaches in the fridge, pulls out your bottle that's your favorite blood type, and fills your mug with it and sets it on the table. Goes, and you go off searching for this invitation. Um, you hear him say, "Your mug's on the table when you're ready for it."
Thanks.
Um, hmm, well, actually uh, give me an investigation roll
Okay.
if you've got any dots in investigation.
Yeah, I have 2 dots, and I have one success and one failure.
Yeah, but is the failure a 1?
No, it's a 4.
Okay, so you got one success, which is enough. And over on the little end table that's by the front door where your keys and your mail and all that stuff gets ceremoniously dropped and then forgotten about for the most part.
Right.
Uh, you find the formal invitation that the prince gave to Natalie while she was over training his bar staff. And it's actually a personally handwritten invitation. And it says, "You and Dexter and Winter are cordially invited to my birthday party this upcoming Friday night at starting at 9 p.m. Uh, and then underneath that in smaller print it says, um, business business attire required, which means it's a little nicer than casual and not formal. So you can't show up in jeans and a t-shirt, but
Right.
the you don't have to go get a gown or anything, which is good because it's tonight in like 2 to 3 hours from now. So,
So since that's when my club opens, I'm definitely gonna have to write up a note to stick on the door and say, now closed due to prior engagement. And any vampires that want to come to the club probably would know what that means.
well, you could actually post a note that says closed due to Prince's birthday party.
That's true. Any humans wouldn't understand
They're
what
like,
that
what in the
was.
world? But
Right.
every vampire that wandered by would definitely know what that meant.
Right. The humans would just be like, is she an Anglophile or what?
And why couldn't they have the birthday party in your club?
Right.
But which they would understand if they saw where the prince lived. So, and you show this to Dexter as you walk over and take a sip from your mug, and he's like, oh crap, my leather's not gonna work for tonight. Oh crap, I have to actually wear something out of my closet. Luckily, I've got 2 to 3 hours to figure it out. And about this time, you see Natalie wrapped in a towel walk out of the bathroom and walk into the kitchen. And she stops and hugs you from behind. Luckily for the towel, or you'd be all wet. But then she heads for the fridge. And she gets her mug and is standing there and takes a drink out of it. And she's the rather, how do I want to put this, annoyed look on Dexter's face. Because Dexter wears his leather, like, if he's up and awake, that's generally what he's wearing. And under his leather jacket, he's, you know, got a biker t-shirt on, so, so he very seldom wears anything else. Because, leather you can wipe down. You don't even have to put it in the laundry. It's like,
Right. Well, you shouldn't put it in the
yeah.
laundry.
So,
Move.
so his, you know, his small loads of laundry consist of underwear and biker t-shirts, and that's about it.
Right.
So, uh, but, and Natalie gets a look on her face like, what's wrong with him? And then she looks down at the invitation and reads the smaller print and goes, oh, okay. And then starts, and then chuckles. And Dexter gets even more annoyed and stomps off to his bedroom to start figuring out what he's going to wear. And then she turns to you and goes, do you have clothes like that?
Well, I have something that might be a little formal, but it'll work.
Okay. Because I wasn't sure what you had clothes wise when you moved in. So,
Yeah, I actually have a dress I bought for last Halloween when I was a vampire. So,
gee, what a,
so
what a surprise.
it's kind of maroon color velvet, like a sort of Victorian high neck with a corset. So it'll work.
That should work.
Yes, everybody thought my fangs were fake when for my costume last Halloween.
Yeah, you might want to keep it that way. Uh, I'm going to have to ask the prince when we get there whether he wants me to do bar duty or not, depending on how well his staff is. pick this up.
Well, I thought that's what he had you train them for.
He did. That doesn't mean they listened all that well.
Well, that's true. Or that they have your skill.
Yeah. Only problem is we should have thought about this a day or two ago as far as, putting up a notice about closing the club.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot going on.
True. So, while the two of you are actually, while the three of you are getting dressed, we will head over to the hotel where Misty is currently staying. Um, you get yourself up basically just a slight, maybe a half an hour after the sun fully goes down. And and the reason you do that is you hear a knock on the door, and as you're getting up, you see a envelope being slid under the door. What do you do?
Uh, I tell my friend or my sire to go get the envelope.
And he'll grab the envelope as you're sort of grudgingly getting out of bed. He opens it, and it's an invitation card, and it says, "All vampires in the city of New York are cordially invited to the prince's birthday party, um, which starts officially at 9 p.m. Clothing is dress code is business attire. Uh, Gifts are appreciated but not necessary." And that's what the card says.
Okay. Don't know the dude, so why am I wanting to go?
Because that that would be like the governor of the state you're in inviting you to his birthday party. It's your choice whether you want to go or whether you want to do something else with your time.
Although I don't know what I take him as a gift. I don't know him. Don't know what he wants. Don't know what he likes.
Bottle of blood's always handy. Sort of like people who bring alcohol to dinner parties and such. So, yeah.
Or
Oh,
you can bring an unsuspecting human with you
yeah, right.
as a
Get
gift. Here, here's
that.
something to snack on.
Like, I was gonna bring you a bottle of blood, but I figured I'd bring it fresh. So, well, besides, he was standing around outside the gates, snooping, anyways. But so we know that Winter and Natalie and Dexter are going. But what does Misty decide to do?
Um, I talk to my sire and see what they think.
Um, he, of course, well, he knows of the prince. Um, neither are neither of you are from anywhere in the area. You're both from Tennessee
Kentucky.
or Kentucky. Oh, Louisville, yeah. Now, if it was the Prince of Louisville, you probably wouldn't really have a choice. But, yeah. So I'm going to be democratic and let the universe tell you yes or no. Uh, your sire's like, well, we could go, but we don't really know the guy. And I'm not sure we even have the outfits to
Well, I
dress.
have business outfit. I have business outfits because, like I said, I came here for business.
Well, yeah, but as far as a business outfit to go to a horse auction, what
You should dress pretty nice.
what would that be? Would that be like a a women's tailored suit or
Nice dress.
uh, well, yeah, you have the clothes then. It's like, we could either do that or we could find some other thing to do. New York City is a rather large place. Or for that matter, if you're technically done here, we could hop on a plane and head back home if you were more inclined to do that.
Well, I still need to get the horse, or try to get a horse.
Well, we need to check the papers and the internet and such to see if there's another auction anytime soon.
Well, there's also buyers that we could buy from without going to the auction.
Well, yeah, you'd have to personally contact those.
Yep.
And how many of them are up at night?
Well, in the evenings it might be.
Oh,
Maybe not this late, but
Well,
I don't know what time. What time is it?
it's actually only like 7.
Well, usually they're feeding the horses and for the last time at night. About now, maybe.
So the two of you could set about making phone calls such and see if there are any people that you could meet with. You'd have to get ready and meet with them fairly soon because the later it gets, the harder it's gonna be. People don't want to do business at like 10 or 11 at night. So, yeah,
Why not?
Not unless you're a vampire. They
Maybe they
wouldn't
are.
mind.
this
Maybe
is
they are.
true. This is true.
Could be. You never
We
know.
don't know how many vampires are actually in the thoroughbred horse business.
Look at me. I ran across one who bit me, who was in the business.
So there's at least two of you anyway. Um, but um, let me see here. Um, you guys start. You pull out your cell phones and you start um, looking on the internet for possible people you can call.
Well, he he checks that. I check my contacts I have there in New York. They're horse farmers,
Okay.
ranchers.
If you have dots in persuasion, give me a persuasion roll.
Let me check.
See how many successes you have.
Damn it! I don't have any.
Then you roll you roll a chance die,
Which is what
which is 1d10.
I know, but
To, to have a success on a chance die, you have to roll a 10. Anything else is a failure.
really?
And you get one die. That's how chance die work.
Oh shit!
Because you're basically hoping you get lucky.
Guess what? A 10.
You, out of all the
By
contacts,
chance, I've gotten 10.
out of all the contacts on your phone, you find one person who may have a horse worth looking at. Uh, he's a good bit away though. He's out in the country north of New York City. With the traffic, it would probably take you maybe an hour, hour and a half to get. Um, if that works for you, you can definitely hop in a cab or an Uber, and unless you and your sire rented a vehicle when you got to New York, could
Well,
you?
I was already here, but I don't know. I think he did.
Because you took a cab earlier, so I wasn't sure whether you guys rented a vehicle or not.
Oh, that's because we walked. We were walking around, and from where we were walking around, we took a cab instead of walking back in the car.
Yeah. So you guys get dressed and head down to the garage where you parked your rental car. You pay the fee to the parking attendant and you jump in the car and start heading through the traffic of the city, and you head north toward the address that this guy gave you on the phone. And while you guys are driving, we're gonna head over to our other group and see if Dexter's made any progress and whether he can find something to wear to the birthday party. And by this time, Natalie and Winter are already showered and dressed and ready to go because uh, Natalie wants to get there a tad early and make sure everything bar wise is okay.
Should we stop by the corner store and pick up a bottle of AB negative for his gift on the way?
That would probably be a good idea. Um, and you hear Dexter from the room say, "We're probably getting low on the bottles in the fridge anyway."
Yeah, we seem to be going through that pretty quick.
Well, your average wine bottle,
It's like 4 glasses.
yeah, has 4 glasses, and those are wine glasses. We're not talking coffee mugs and stuff. So, yeah, about 4 good mugs, and you need a new bottle anyway. So, you guys end up at the corner market like twice a week just doing that. Um, so Natalie comes out of the bedroom in a complete black. It's about she's wearing this dress that I wouldn't say it's a ball gown, but it's just above ankle length. Um, and all of her jewelry is actually silver. So it, it definitely stands out with the dress. And she's wearing, if you ever saw the kind of heels that Betty Page used to wear,
I'm not sure.
they're pretty thick, and they've got a minimum of 4 inch heels on them. Um, how Betty Page could walk around in these things, I'll never know, but she was really good at it. Um, so she steps out into the kitchen, and Dexter just about drops on the floor. Like, you don't ever look like that at the club. She's like, how often do I ever go to the prince's birthday party? And he's like, you sure gonna be able to 10 bar dress like that? And then you're in the. So describe to me what winter looks like once she's completely dressed for this.
Well, like I said, it's a long velvet dress, maroon. The and her hair is just kind of down. She usually wears it in a ponytail or braided, but it's kind of down past her shoulders. Um, Black heels that kind of lace up, so they're like strappy
Uh,
sandal type heels.
okay. Um, how long is the dress?
It's um, down almost to the floor. It's like a Victorian type,
Okay.
so
So,
it's long.
what jewelry is she wearing, if any?
She's got a pair of like ruby earrings
Okay.
that look like little blood drops. Of course.
Nice. Um, do you have the matching necklace that would go with that or not?
Well, the dress has a high
Oh, yeah.
neck, like the Victorian dresses, the lace up high
Right.
collar. So
Natalie sees you and immediately makes a mental note for uh, an idea for a Christmas present. And so you're both standing in the kitchen. Um, and once again, you hear Dexter clonking around. Uh, and he finally comes out.
yeah, I was just about to say maybe as his sire, I should go help, see if I can help him.
Well, he, he's still wearing his biker boots, but they're shined up. He's wearing a pair of actual black slacks. Because every guy has at least one pair of black slacks in their wardrobe.
Well, I mean, there's gonna be times you have to wear something a little nicer. That's all.
And he's wearing a white ruffled shirt with ruffles on the down the neckline and on the sleeves. It actually looks like something they would have worn in Interview with a Vampire. And
Yeah,
you're
so I was thinking he actually looks like a vampire.
and you're sitting there wondering where did he get that?
Maybe he went to a Ren fair once.
Yeah, and over top of that, he's wearing a gray suit vest, but he's not wearing the jacket and he's not wearing a tie. He says, "This is as close as I get to dressed up, because when I die, I won't be wearing a tie." So, in fact, if I ever die. So, and, you know, Dexter's 6'4", close to 300 pounds. When forced to, he still cleans up pretty well. Uh, so, you guys walk outside and walk around your yard to Natalie's Tesla that's sitting in the driveway. You guys climb in and head off to the corner market to get a bottle of AB negative for the prince. Um, you'll notice when you go in that the old man is there, but um, his female companion isn't, because she is in fact going to the birthday party. So she left her ghoul in charge of the corner market because they didn't want to close for this. And he's, you know, quite amenable for an old man. You've talked to him a couple times. He seems like a nice old guy. He comments on how nice the three of you look. And he's like, you guys should dress up more often. And then you step up to you go over to the blood section of the, uh, one of the large coolers, the wall size coolers, is filled with various bottles of blood divided by blood type on each shelf. So you grab a bottle of AB negative, and then Dexter grabs 3 bottles that you guys use. And you go up and set them on the counter. And he rings them up fairly quickly. Uh, it is slow because a lot of the vampires in the neighborhood are going to the party. So he gives you one of those cardboard wine bottle carriers and says, have fun at the party. Uh,
Thank you. We will.
no doubt you'll see my other half there. uh, tell her not to drink too much.
Well, as one of us, it wouldn't do anything, would it?
Mm. So, and you guys head out the door, jump back in the car, head toward the princess um, complex, which is also up north. Um, while you guys are doing that, we'll head over to another large estate, even further north of the city, that Misty and her sire drive up to a cast iron gate. Uh, so so is Misty driving or is your sire driving?
My sire.
So you guys pull up to the gate and there's the intercom system on the side of the gate. You hear a voice say, "Hello, um, who should I say you are?"
Misty Dragonstone. And
Yeah,
no,
we never really gave your sire a name.
we did, but I can't remember it.
Yeah,
Uh,
you did, but I can't remember what it was.
well,
Something with a C.
I don't remember at the moment myself.
Yeah,
Um,
me.
but it's not really necessary. Cause you're the one that wants to buy the horse. So, uh, you hear the guy in the intercom says, "Okay, I'll check with the boss." And so couple minutes later, you hear a click, and the cast iron gate opens, and you're able to drive uh, up the long driveway into a circle drive right in front of ha, right in front of the large uh, Tudor style house. It seems that a lot of these large properties have circle driveways. It just makes it easier for the delivery people. Um, but it's a large red brick Tudor style house. Um, The porch is white, but there isn't any columns between the ceiling and the porch. And the two of you walk up to the door, and there's a dragon head. There's a gold dragon head for the knocker on the front door. Which one of you knocks on the door?
I do.
Couple minutes later, a girl that can't be any more than 16 or 17 opens the door, says, "Yes, can I help you?"
I'm looking for the owner of the ranch.
Ah, okay. Um, and you hear she just turns, before she even invites you in, she turns and yells, "Dad, we have company. Were you expecting anybody?" And then she's like, "Oh, sorry. Come on in." And the two of you walk into this very large foyer area. And um, the girl goes, "You'll have to excuse me. The tonight's the butler's night off. He went to some birthday party." Um, and a couple minutes later, the the person on your contact list that you called walks into the foyer area, says, "Oh, hello, Misty. It's been a while.
Yeah, quite a bit a while.
Does this guy
Is in
have a name?"
uh Benjamin.
Okay. I was gonna say, since he's your contact, you get to give him a name. Uh,
Benjamin uh Thomas.
so Benjamin, yeah, shakes your hand and your sire's hand, and oh, um, as my daughter said, my our butler's out for the evening.
Okay.
Is Benjamin human or vampire?
I don't know.
Okay. Um, you saw Julie, the daughter, smile, and she is definitely human. So, no fangs were evident at this point. Um, and he says, "Come join me in the living room by the fire." And he leads the two of you into a massive living room. If this had been set up the way actual Tudor style houses were back in Tudor England, this room would have been the Great Hall slash dining room. Buddy, but they've turned it into the living room uh, with several sofas and a large fireplace at the end of the room, and you know, end tables and such scattered around at strategic spots, and bookshelves like crazy. Um, so he has you, the two of you, sit down fairly close to the fire. Although it's going on fall in New York, so the summer temperatures have broken. But you're not sure whether having a fire in the fireplace would be necessary at this point. But, and, um, he says, "Can I get the two of you anything?"
Um, no, thank you.
And you said on the phone you were looking to add a new horse to your stable.
Yes.
I'm assuming you attended the auction.
Um, I was there for a little bit of it, but then I kind of got distracted looking to my sire.
Ah,
I mean, not that I say he's my sire, just look at him.
yeah. Because he did interrupt your auction for you. Um, okay. There, I do have a horse that I was wanting to sell at the auction, but for excuse me, but for reasons I don't really understand, it didn't sell today. Maybe the price was too high, or maybe by the time the horse came up in line, everybody that was going to buy had made their purchases. I don't know.
Well, how old is it? Is it is it male or I mean is it how old? Well, is it a female or male horse? How old is it? What breed is it?
Um, it's a male and it's 2 years old. Um, you'll have to excuse me because I'm not big on horse breeds. So, uh, I haven't raced it at all. Although at 2 years old, I probably should have. But
Then most likely it's a thoroughbred or a quarter horse.
yeah, um, I'm Not sure which of the sports you're into, but
Racing.
yeah, but I mean, are you,
I prefer thoroughbreds.
okay. So you haven't done any quarter horse type stuff.
No.
Um, I can take you out to the stables to have a look at him if you would like.
Yes, please.
Um, Now he does look a bit different than most thoroughbred horses you see. He, he's not a solid color. Um, he's telling you this as the three of you are walking from the house to the stable.
Okay, he's not a solid color. What is he?
Um, well, as you get to this stable door, he opens the door and you guys walk in and you see two or three horses in their stalls. Um, but the one he walks up to is um, gray, but he has about a 3-inch white collar around his neck that goes part of the way down his chest. So he looks different than most thoroughbreds you would see.
Can we have him pulled out of the out of the stall so we can actually see him?
Yeah, and uh, he motions for the stable boy to come over and tells him to pull the horse out. And he does so. The horse seems quite calm, actually. Um, the horse looks to be a good size. He looks to be quite healthy. Uh, just his coloring is different, so it surprises people when they see him.
Hmm. I wonder what's up with the coloring. Are you sure he's purebred?
Yeah, I have the papers for him in my study. It's just that sometimes genetics clash and you end up with colors you wouldn't necessarily get. Uh, my my daughter Julie has taken an interest in him and she rides him around and exercises him Um, but she also knows that he's actually for sale.
And how much are you wanting for him?
Um, uh, since I don't know what thoroughbred horses go for,
Neither do I. That
I'm
depends on their bloodline.
I'm going to roll a dice and come up with a number. Uh, when all else fails, roll dice. That's actually a good motto to live by.
All else fails, roll dice.
Yeah, I was thinking that at the auction I could get somewhere around 60,000 for him. Uh, no,
You know, that's not a bad price for a 2-year-old.
no. Uh, it is a little less than twice what I paid for him when I bought him. So,
Well, where are you selling them if you bought them?
what?
Where are you selling them then?
Um, I I have other horses that have actually won races, so we're concentrating more on those. And right now, the only activity that he's getting is with my daughter. So, so I figured with him being 2 years old, if I sold him to another place, he's still young enough that you could put him in races and actually make some money with him. Um, it's up to you though.
Well, I'm willing to pay the 60K. I have no issue with that.
Okay. Um, we can go back up to my study and I can give you his pedigree information. We can sign the bill of sale and um, where would you want him delivered to?
Um, my place in Louisville.
Oh, um, you know,
You remember my place, don't you? You've been there.
yeah, it's been quite a while, yeah, but I remember. Um, if I don't know that I still have the address though, so you might write that down for me. Um, and I'll have one of my stable hands um, get him ready tomorrow, and uh, by truck it may take a day or two for you to get him, but
Oh, that's fine.
from northern New York to Louisville is gonna take a day or so. But uh, we talking bank transfer cash wise or
Bank transfer. I could carry 60K on me.
that wouldn't be a good idea to be wandering around New York City with.
Yeah, not like I'm carrying 60K on me, you
Yeah,
know.
not a good idea.
No, not in New York, especially.
I don't think anywhere would be smart. I think
Though
it'd be stupid anywhere.
I have heard of some professional poker players that do it, but I don't know
Yeah,
that I would. Uh,
I wouldn't.
No.
so you guys get back to his study, and and you do all the necessary wire transfer stuff, and you sign the bill of sale, and he gives you the paperwork on his pedigree and his bloodline and all the vet stuff that's been done recently, all his medical records, so that if anything comes up, you know his medical history. Um, and as the three of you walk out the door, Julie is his daughter is standing there. Um, and he turns to her and goes, "Well, we just sold the gray to Misty here. Um, I know that you were attached to the horse to a degree. So why don't you go um, exercise him a bit, and then tomorrow you can help get him ready to go on the truck, and so he can go to his new home in Louisville, Kentucky." Uh, she does look somewhat uh, sad at the prospect, but uh, she nods and goes up to her room to grab her riding gear so she can go out and spend some time with the horse. And then um, Benjamin politely shows you to the door unless there's anything else.
I tell Benjamin, I say, Julie is welcome to come down to the ranch anytime to see the horse. Maybe not ride, but at least see it.
I'll let her know. Um, yeah, I don't know what she's ultimately gonna do with herself. Um, she's going to be hopefully starting college soon, but um, as far as horses go, I'm Not sure how much she's actually gonna get into it, but I'll let her know the invitation is open. Uh, I'm glad I could help you out, and I'm glad we could give the gray a possibly better situation than he was having here.
Oh yeah, I plan to race him.
Uh, I'll let Julie know that. She might keep track of his career.
Yeah. Have you ever maybe not racing, but have you ever worked him on a track to see what his times are?
Uh, Not as of yet, no. Uh,
Okay.
if you're gonna race him as a 2 year old, he's gonna be starting fresh as far as that goes. And with that, he's like, well, as he, as he escorts you out the door onto the porch, uh, it's good to see you again. I'll have to make a trip to Kentucky sometime soon.
Yes, you will.
How
And thank
much
and thank you again.
how much longer are you gonna be in New York City?
Uh, looks to my sire and says, I don't know.
And he says, well, the big thing keeping us here was getting the horse, so we can head home at any time. And you might want to get back so that you'll be there when the horse gets
Yes,
delivered.
yes.
So we could leave tomorrow, actually.
Okay, sounds good. I guess we're leaving tomorrow.
Well, unless there's anything else you want to do while you're here.
Mm, no.
So, and with that, the two of you head off the porch and back down to the rental car and head back.
I think, and I say we might want to swing by the prince birthday party.
Yeah, we could make an appearance.
I mean, what time is it?
Um, I'd say it's probably um, I'd say it's about 9:30.
Yeah, we're just a little late. Not too bad.
By this time, the party's been going for about a half an hour.
And just a half an hour late.
And as you guys are driving over, we'll switch to the party where Winter and Dexter and Natalie are already there. Um, you and Dexter have been uh, chatting with the prince and Tanner Well, Natalie's been yeah, sort of watching over the staff to make sure yeah, everything's going okay. And the prince turns to you and says, I'm really glad the three of you could make it tonight. Uh, Natalie did a fine job with the staff. I'm hoping they actually learned something from her. I have a feeling this is going to be a decent sized turnout. uh, and,
Well, I imagine most or all of the vampires in the city are here, or will be.
well, we'll have a lot of people coming and going throughout the night. And as you guys drove up, there are several awnings with tables and chairs and such set up throughout the front of the property where people can mingle and because you know he's expecting enough people that even with the house that he has, they know it's not going to hold all the people that are probably going to appear. Um, Dexter is definitely feeling awkward because he hasn't been a vampire very long at all. At this point, 2 or 3 months maybe. So he's definitely feeling awkward. And especially since he's dressed up more than he normally would be. And I take it when you came in, you handed him the bottle of.
Yes.
He says, thank you very much for that. I have a feeling that I may get that this may not be the only bottle of this I get tonight, but I have to restock my quote wine cellar anyway, so it will help. And as more people periodically show up, you see the staff start running around making sure that there's food and blood and you know and he he says I hired a goth metal band that's local to the area that I've heard a couple times and they sound pretty good for a local band, so we'll see how that works.
Oh, if they're good, maybe I could hire them, for live performances once a week or something at my club, in the RIP section, maybe.
Dexter says, yeah, you do have that stage in the RIP section. We should use it for something.
Yeah.
So, and the Brent said, well, you'll have to talk to him about that after the party if there's time before the sun comes up. Because I don't expect there'll be a lot of time before the sun comes up. Um,
Well, if I don't have time to talk to them, you could give me their contact info and I can call them some other time.
that's true. Oh, um, they are vampires, by the way. I don't think I would. I don't think it's safe to have a actual human band at my birthday party.
No, one of your guests might get hungry.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I have posted that that is not acceptable behavior for the evening. Um, I do not want this to break down into a blood fest of a birthday party. I am the prince. There's a certain amount of decorum that needs to be observed.
Aw, not even a little nip and sip.
Not on the property this evening, no. There will be the likelihood of paparazzi here, so that could be a problem. The last thing we need is a news segment of somebody getting munched on, shall we say.
Oh, okay, I'll behave myself. Looks like you've got plenty of blood anyways.
So you start to mingle, and as the old man said, you see the old lady from the market standing there, and she sees you and goes, my, you're dressed up this evening.
Yeah, so this is the only thing I had that seemed appropriate for the party.
Not in your normal club wear.
No. No, I don't think the prince would have liked that much.
um, I don't know. It has been reported that has been in the club a time or two.
Yes, he's dropped in a few times.
Maybe on the night that we're closed, uh, my ghoul and I should drop by,
Oh, you're definitely welcome.
see what the younger set does these days. Yeah, 'cause not many of them come into the store. Our customers are generally the older types that live in the neighborhood that have the money.
Well, your store is very convenient to us. It's just right around the corner from where we live.
Yeah, well, we tend to go through a lot of bottles of blood. In fact, we don't stock a whole lot of food because nobody eats it. And while you're talking to the old woman, um, Bella walks up, the girl from the club, and puts her arms around Dexter's shoulders and, like, why, hello there. And Dexter turns and sees Bella and smiles slightly. It's like, didn't expect you to show up here. And she says, I'm older than you think. The prince and I have been friends for a long time. But oddly enough, while she's having this conversation, she's sort of hanging on Dexter. It's like, and at the club, you haven't even noticed them ever interacting with each other. So it's sort of odd that she would be doing that.
Yeah, so I kind of walk over since I don't particularly trust her, and I'm Dexter's sire, and I kind of feel protective of him. I just walk over and say, "Hi, Bella," and kind of show her my fangs. Like, "How are you this evening?"
She's like, Hi, Winter. I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Doing all right. Um, and I look at Dex and say, "You okay there, Dex?"
Um, he's a little confused by the whole thing, actually. He's like, I think so. Because he doesn't understand what Bella's doing, and he hasn't ever seen you, like, get protective or what registered with him as jealous because in his life, before he was turned into a vampire, he's seen, biker girls fight over guys and stuff like that because it happens a lot in the biker community. So he's sort of surprised to see it out of you. He's like, he's trying to register the whole thing in his head. Yeah. And Bella steps back for a second, walks over to you and says, well, Dexter is cute, but the person I wanted to talk to you. Um, been a rather interesting development in the park.
Has something else happened
Yeah,
tonight?
yeah. Um, and honestly, it's the perfect night for it because most of the people are at the birthday party. Um, I and she sort of pulls you aside. In fact, she's like, uh, "Come into this empty room over here because I don't necessarily want the other party goers to hear this. I've already told the prince this before you guys got here. Um, the apparently the Lycaeus Sanctum believes there's something big about to happen, and they sent um, Maquette, their Maquette members, into the park, like a dozen of them, uh, looking for gangrels.
Yes.
There was a bit of a clash between the dozen of them and like th- three gangrels they did find. Um, actually, and four maquettes were injured. One was actually killed. Um, all three gangrels were injured. None of them were killed. But the big problem is seven humans were injured in the park.
Oh,
And,
and
and
I'm assuming the humans know or suspect that they were not injured by other humans.
yeah, and,
That's a problem. I'm glad you told the prince.
and the police were called. And the worst part of it is that two policemen were injured in the process.
This is not a good thing for our kind. The humans are going to be after all of us now if they can find us all.
Yeah, because the police weren't injured by other humans
Right.
because their injuries are not consistent with human injuries, if you understand what I'm.
Yes. Uh, Maybe this is a question I should ask the prince, but is there a way to sort of gather up all the humans that were injured and wipe their memories so they have no idea? Because that would be nice.
Hmm. It's a possibility, but the larger problem is the two police officers,
Well, them as well.
because there's gonna be reports written and, you know, all your standard police sort of goo, and yeah.
This is not good. What did the prince say?
Uh, he said he will start. Um, he honestly pulled out his cell phone and started calling people. Um, he dispatched well, he told somebody he was talking to get a team together tonight and start and head over to the park as soon as they could get a team together.
Have you mentioned this to Tanner Garrett? Maybe it's something that all of the Covenant representatives should know about if you know any of them.
No, I haven't. In fact, you might could do that. And the other thing that I'm fearing out of this is you have the Sanctum having issues with the gangrel, and the Sanctum has put the maquette in the middle of it, and now there's in, injuries on all sides, and
Right. The more troubling aspect of this is the humans being involved, though, because that's just bad for all of our kind.
yeah, but if you start basically uh, a race war amongst amongst the kindred, the humans are gonna be stuck in the middle of it, which is gonna make it even worse. So those of us who can have to do whatever we can to minimize this as quickly as possible.
Well, the prince would be the one to do that. He's got resources that the rest of us don't.
You know, great thing to have happen on his birthday.
Oh, I know.
But like I said, with a lot of the vampires here, that was gonna be the perfect night for something to happen. And it did.
Well, thank you for telling me.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go over to the bar and get a drink now.
Yeah, that's where I was going to head, and then I think I'll see if I can find Tanner in the crowd here.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm going to go up to the bar as well.
So while that is going on,
Hey guys, can we take a break?
uh, actually, what time is it?
9:18.
Yeah, now would be about 2 hours, so it's a good time for a break. So we will see you guys in 20 minutes, and then we'll find out what everybody's gonna do about this interesting new development in the park.
See.
Let me throw that up there and I'll pause the recording. Hello and welcome back to this episode of Vampire, episode 6, The Prince's Birthday. As you can see, we have lost a player. um, Melanie was having back issues, so she decided to call it for the evening. Um, but we are going on with the prince's birthday party. And the rather dire information that Bella gave Winter just before the break. Um, so, and then Bella headed to the bar to get a drink, which understandably after that.
Yeah, I'm heading in that direction myself.
So, um, you head over to the bar, and Bella is standing there, sipping on a drink, actually talking to Natalie, because Natalie got disgusted with the prince's bartender and jumped behind the bar. And Bella is sipping on a drink that looks like a tequila sunrise, but the bottom layer of it is blood. So it's like blood and then vodka and then orange juice and you know the quality and style of the drinks had definitely improved since Natalie jumped behind the bar. Um, and about this time, you look out the window and you see this old style hearse pull up. I mean, like a 50s hearse, complete with chrome and the whole thing. And you see this girl with um, chin length black hair hop out of the front seat. And she goes up to the security guards at the front door and is talking to one of them. And while she's talking to one of them, the side doors open and the large back door opens. And you can see, you know, guitars and amplifiers and drum set and the whole thing. This must be the band that the prince hired. And yeah, and you see the security guy at the front door standing on the porch talking to the girl, pointing in various directions, like you can set up here and you know all that. Because they're gonna set up outside instead of in the house. They figure they'll get a bigger audience if they do that. Um, and uh, one of the security guards comes in and walks over to the prince, and you can hear him say that the band is here. They're outside. So he walks out the front door onto the porch and greets them, and you know, and confirms where they're gonna set up, and they're. He's like, how long is it gonna take you before you can start playing and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and then goes back inside. So, um, while this is going on, you get your whatever your favorite drink from Natalie is, and you're standing there sipping your drink. Now and again making small talk with Bella. And then you see Tanner walk up to the bar and order his standard Bloody Mary from Natalie. And she does that real quick. And she turns to you and goes, or Tanner turns to you and goes, I assume you heard what happened?
Oh, so you've already heard. I was going to tell you.
Um, Invictus has people everywhere.
Yes,
Um,
Bella told me.
yeah. There's a couple of problems. There's a couple of big problems with this. Um, well, you knew that what the name here? Um, I know, but
name are you looking for?
Uh,
I might have it.
the uh, the rogue priest guy that you were supposed to be talking to.
Yes, I do have his name.
I do too. I'm just not seeing it at the
Lu-
moment.
Lucian Caldwell.
Yeah, Lucian Caldwell. Well, you knew that he was a rogue priest, didn't you? Or
Well, I knew he had something to do with the Lycaea Sanctum. I heard he was a priest. I
yeah.
didn't know he was a rogue priest, per
Well,
se.
he doesn't necessarily agree with some of the things the sanctum holds to.
And conversely, they probably don't agree with his beliefs.
No, that's why he is no longer technically part of them.
Ah, that I don't believe I heard. I thought he was still a member.
No, hasn't been for probably about a year now. We found it somewhat odd when he started, quote, helping gangrels and enticing them to do things for him.
Ah,
Because when we collected and interrogated the one from your club,
yes.
all he would say is that he was taking orders from Lucian.
Okay.
So, and the sanctum not being stupid has apparently had maquette spies that are members of their congregation wandering around because they were like, this feels a little weird.
Right.
Didn't think it would come to open combat though.
I'm honestly not surprised with all the other stuff that's been happening.
Yeah. I think we definitely need to talk to the prince and come up with a plan though. Because this can't be the end of the plot. End of the plot.
No, but I mean, and excuse me for saying so, but isn't this something you and the prince and maybe the other covenant reps should be doing? I don't see where I fit into any sort of plan as far as all of this is concerned. I'm just a nightclub owner.
Problem is, um, you, your nightclub is. sort of become the epicenter for the vampire um, society in this neighborhood. Things have been happening outside of your club. Things have been happening in Washington Square Park that's, what, 100 yards from your club? A large and growing younger section of the vampire community go to your club and hang out and talk to each other and exchange information and yeah. So if this was happening on the other side of New York, maybe not, but it seemed to be happening in your neighborhood.
Yes, but I don't have the knowledge or the resources to deal with this like you and the prince do. I'm not anything in the hierarchical or political kindred at all, so
No, but the reason you need to be included is your neighborhood seems to be the epicenter of where it's happening. Not saying that you have the resources to actually affect it, but being where several hundred vampires a day hang out, or several hundred a night hang out, you should be included just so you know what the plan is. And also, if things continue to happen in Washington Square Park, you're likely to find out about them just through gossip quicker than the rest of us would, since it's 100 yards away.
well, I guess if all you want me to do is pass along information I find out, I can do that,
Yeah.
but I don't know how much else how much else I could do. I mean,
Well, if there's firepower needed or anything like that, the prince is gonna be the one. The prince would have to order that.
right.
Um, you wouldn't have anything to do with anything like that.
Or politics or anything like that. I imagine you and the prince would take care of that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you don't know, the prince has an advisory council. It's like the mayor and the city council, but they don't necessarily vote on anything. They just have conversations, and then the prince decides what the prince wants to do and go from there. So yeah, you wouldn't be included in any major decisions. You would just be um, kept apprised of what we're doing, and then on your side, if there's any information you find out from people in your club, like, and he points to Bella over there.
Yeah, she would be the main one probably. And I kind of lean into him and I'm like, can she be trusted? Do you think? I'm still on the fence about her.
Uh, she hasn't, for lack of a better, excuse me, for lack of a better term, she tends to be neutral. She'll find out things, she'll relay things, but I've never seen her get involved one way or the other past that.
I guess it's just the fact that she's Circle of the Crone and they killed people, just at
Well,
least one person. Maybe
yeah.
that's the only reason I find her untrustworthy.
Well, the circle of the crone has sacrificed people for centuries. You just happen to meet one. Uh, this is by no means the first time they've ever done that. Um, and,
Well, the people I associate, the vampires I associate with, don't go around sacrificing people.
well, the other the other groups of vampires and the other covenants sort of don't really make a fuss because it's not like they're sacrificing large numbers of people. It's like one here and there every once in a while. It's like, uh, it's usually a signal that something bigger is happening, which is the real problem you've got to worry about. Uh, fact, I saw Bella sort of, for lack of a better term, hanging on your bouncer earlier.
Yes, I saw that too.
Might not be a bad idea in the sense that you can always keep track of her. Um,
Yes, but I don't want Dex getting hurt.
but
Speaking of which, after you and the prince and I talk, is whatever we come up with, is that something I could share with Nat and Dex, or
you probably should, given that they work in the club too. Um, and they're going to be involved in anything that happens in the vicinity of the club. Uh, yeah,
I just wasn't sure how quiet you wanted to keep the whole thing.
well, I'd say keep it between the five of us, the three of you and the prince and me.
Yes.
Um, Oh, and uh, by the way, and Winter would know this, Bella is absolutely beautiful in a very dark, you know, sort of um, the Elvira sort of, but younger sort of way. Um,
And hopefully smarter.
well, yeah. Well, smarter than the Elvira character, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
But you could easily see where, yeah, Dexter could be drooling over Bella. Uh, so, yeah. Fact, think I'm gonna go have a little chat with Bella and send her over to the park to see what's going on, if anything still is. Because since her sisters tend to hang around down there, which if anybody would call attention to themselves walking through Washington Square Park, it'd be Bella. People be turning their heads all kinds of directions. The Bella walked through there. So, and with that, he finishes his Bloody Mary. Uh, tells Natalie that how much he likes her drinks and that she makes the best Bloody Mary in the city. Um, and walks over to Bella and sort of pulls her aside. And after a few minutes, you see Bella nod her head and walk out the door. And then he comes back to you and says, "We we should know if there's anything else going on in a couple of hours."
Great. Now, if you want to talk to the prince, just get another drink from that real quick, and then we can go talk to him.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Um, actually, um, Tanner tells Natalie while she's making another Bloody Mary for him to make another of whatever the prince is drinking and he'll take it to him. So she does that. You and she makes you another drink, and the three of you walk. Well, you and Tanner walk over to the prince, and the prince takes the drink and says, "Let's retire to the study for our conversation. I don't want the rest of the partygoers to know what's going on." And about this time, you hear the band start to play, and it's basically heavy goth metal with a the girl has a vocal range that goes from growly alto to soprano. Yeah. She can growl when she wants to, or she can sing really high when she wants to. Uh, and you see the people, once the music starts, you see the people head for the door. Because they're all like, what is this? And the prince is like, see, perfect timing.
Right.
Uh, and so the three of you retire to the study, and it's the exact thing you would imagine a vampire prince's study would look like. There are books on shelves on three three walls, a large fireplace with gargoyles on the two ends of the fireplace. Uh, there's a roll top desk over in the corner and two or three overstuffed high back chairs with a table in the center facing the fireplace. There's art on the walls. It's mainly of like barely clothed succubuses and things like that. Yeah. Your standard guy's vampire study. um, Except you can tell that everything here is is the finest quality that you could get a hold of, and this room would be very expensive if somebody tried to replicate it. So, advantages of being the prince.
Right.
Yeah. Um, so he points to the chairs and invites the two of you to sit down. And he sits down and puts his drink on the table. He says, "Oh, by the way, Tanner, thank you for grabbing me another drink. Sort of absent minded right now. Uh, but I gotta say, this is probably the most interesting birthday I've had in a while. Didn't really want it this way, though. Um, so, hmm. He turns to you initially and goes, what I'm gonna need from you and from Dexter and from Natalie going forward until whatever this ends, we can put a end to is information. Anything you can find out or anything you hear about from the people in the club, no matter how small you think it might be, because we've got, with dead humans on our hands, we've got a problem.
Yes, not only dead humans, but living suspicious humans at this point.
Yeah,
That's the part that worries me.
yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to fix that. I have a cleanup team on the way to the park. Hopefully, they're already there. And Tanner breaks in and goes, "Yeah." And I just sent Bella to the park to check things out.
Yes, she may end up being one of my best resources, actually. She's already told me quite a few things.
Well, and Tanner goes, "Yeah, she's." I always thought it was odd that she spent almost every night at the club, but now I sort of realize why. She hears everything, whether it's a rumor or whatever.
So if I do find information, which one of you should I pass it along to? Or both?
uh,
Or.
Prince says, "I'm gonna be sort of busy on my end with the cleanup teams and the political crap and all that. So anything you find, um, anything the three of you find, um, pass it along to Dexter and he'll,
Tanner?
yeah, Tanner, excuse me, and he'll get it to me. And
Okay.
if it's something I think you can do something about, I'll let Tanner know, and he'll be the sort of go between.
Okay. And I have another question on a more personal and perhaps selfish level. Just with all the stuff happening in the park, would you say it's not a safe place to hunt right now?
Mm, I wouldn't say it was, because there's gonna be increased police presence in the park, especially with the two injured policemen. So yeah, I wouldn't hunt there for now if I were you. Um, at least for the time being, you might go to one of the like clinic quote.
Yes, we've
Yeah.
done that. It's just Dex and I have both sort of developed a recent taste for the hunt.
Well, and I'm no not surprised. Um, I have it a little easier up here because one, I have my own herd, as they call it. Plus, up here in north in the county north of the city, it's a little easier to do that.
Well, I suppose we could take a trip to Times Square. That would, yeah,
Yeah,
that that's probably ripe for the picking around that area.
yeah, there's thousands of people there on any given day. missing one or two of them, isn't? And there's always the red light district down there, and they're really not gonna miss.
Well, for that matter, we could take in a Broadway show and, cruise the back aisles and
Yeah, that's one thing New York City has. They do have good shows on Broadway, and there's always the alleys behind the theaters and such. And so, within a little bit of a drive, you have options. For that matter, if you went out of town into the country, there's always hikers and you know people on trails and such like that. Even at night, which is really stupid in my opinion, but
yeah.
yeah. But I have a feeling that this was just the opening clash of something much bigger. So,
Well, is this something perhaps you ought to get the reps for the gangrels and
oh, you mean the reps for the other covenant groups?
yeah,
Like the.
particularly the covenants that had the clash tonight?
Well,
Or were they from different covenants?
well, see, well, the maquettes were from the Lycaea Sanctum, but the gangrels may be just affiliated with Lucian, and
Mm.
there may not be a covenant there.
Okay.
So,
And I don't think we want to talk to Lucian about this because none of us trust him.
well, obviously the Sanctum didn't, or they,
I don't.
or they wouldn't have had the maquette wandering around, which you combine ostensibly the church with a bunch of spies, and that's not real. Yeah, that could be a bit of an unsettling thing in itself. Um, I will. I'm going after I get a report from the crew I had sent out. Um, I'm gonna have a meeting with my advisor, with my advisory council, and then I I'm gonna do what you suggest and pull all of the representatives from the various uh, covenants together and brief them on what's going on and get suggestions and such. Um, because I'm sure the Carthians um, have an opinion on this. Uh, and ordered a cool is probably looking at a scientific reason for this. And we already know that that the crone is already involved in this,
Mm-hmm.
as you saw in the park the last time you were there, and with Bella, of course. I need to have a chat with her. Um, yeah. So within the next couple of days, I'm gonna try and meet with all of these people at some point. Because I have a sinking feeling that this is escalating towards something.
Yes, seems like it.
And I also have the feeling that our friend Lucian is, if not behind it, playing a fairly large role in what's going on.
Well, he's definitely involved, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'd tell the truth about it if we right out asked him, so.
Oh no. No, no. For one, the priests, they talk. They don't say anything, but they talk. So, yeah. Trying to have a conversation with him would be a waste of time. Um, Having him for lunch, however,
Having him over for lunch or having him for lunch?
well, one would involve him talking, and one would involve him screaming. Which would you prefer? Uh, and having him for lunch might be the only useful thing we get out of him. Um, and as the prince is saying this, you can see Tanner smiling because their interactions between Tanner and Lucian in the club have not endeared Tanner to Lucian at all. Well, the prince says, after I talk to all the people that I want to have conversations with over the next couple of nights, um, I'll relay anything, any information that I think you'll need through Tanner, and we'll go from there and see how this plays out. Um, and on top of all of this, we've got the Strix and the seven wandering around the city, which makes me even more uncomfortable.
Yes, I thought you sent a crew out to take care of them.
I did. Uh, haven't heard back from them yet.
That's unnerving.
Yeah, going to have to send another crew out to check on the first crew.
Hopefully, they're not strict zombies.
Hmm, hopefully not. They are, we're just going to have to kill them. Which I don't like doing that to my own people, but don't really have a choice in that matter. Because the Strix have already proven they can take out the seven. So, which, if those two were just fighting amongst themselves, I wouldn't mind it at all.
Right.
Could it lower the population of both?
Yeah, just let them take care of each other and
But I have a feeling that they're here because they think there's gonna be a lot of body useful bodies by the time this is done.
now there's a pleasant thought.
And anywhere that the seven think they can kill off more vampires is where they're gonna be. So,
There's an even more pleasant thought.
you know, not people you want to take home to introduce to your parents and
Yeah.
keeping a Strix as a pet is not a good thing either. Uh,
Yes, I noticed the distinct lack of members of the Seven at your party.
yeah, they don't like me.
Yes, well, I can't say I'm too fond of them myself.
Uh, Surprised I haven't seen a Strix or two fly over though. So, and as you have had maquettes sh- show up at your club before, if this happens again, definitely let us know.
I will.
Even though the two that did were like the two most inept maquettes in the world.
Yeah, as far as spies go, I think I could have done a better job.
And the Laurel and Hardy of the maquette group, it's like a, no. But, well, I guess that's all for now. Like I said, after have the meetings I want to have, um, I'll have Tanner get in touch with you and we'll go from there. Uh,
All right.
I guess we should go out and try to enjoy a little bit of my birthday party.
Yes.
Um, at least I need to make it look like I'm enjoying my birthday party. So,
Try to do so.
from what I'm hearing, the people seem to like the band though, so that's a good thing.
So we can go bug Nat for some more drinks. That's the one disappointing thing about being a vampire.
What? Not getting
Alcohol.
smashed.
Yes, alcohol has no effect on you.
Well, the upside to that is the next morning.
Ah, yes. There is that.
you know,
It's been 5.5 years. I almost forgot about that.
no hangovers and such. So, and I want to say again that you and Natalie and Dexter have been very helpful to me and uh, to Invictus in the middle of all this. And uh, you, you will, if we all survive whatever is coming, you will definitely be rewarded by the end of this.
Thank you, sir. We'll continue to do what we can for you.
And, yeah, and hanging out at your club every once in a while is a very nice distraction and stress relief. So, although I wish I could clone Natalie for my staff, though. Um, and with that, he stands up and escorts the two of you out of the study and back into the main living room. And the volume of the band out front is literally almost rattling the windows. It's a good thing that he lives on a large complex out in the middle of nowhere. And you guys, the three of you, walk up to the bar and get drinks from Natalie, and so head out the front door and are sort of standing in the back listening to the band. And the prince is thinking, I've lived 400 years just to deal with this sort of crap. And, um, and you guys just sort of spend the rest of the night um, casually interacting with people. You catch up again with the elderly lady that runs the corner market because she's not really into heavy goth metal, and so she's been sort of hanging around chatting in the house because the noise and stuff. And Tanner occasionally goes over and chats with Natalie at the bar. And, um, But the one thing that does happen is that Bella walks back in. Uh, she's been gone for close to 2 hours. And Tanner sees her, and the three of you, well, you and Tanner and the prince, sort of all surround her. And she looks rather nervous at the fact that the three of you have, yeah, basically cornered her now. And it's like, and she tells you that even though the cops have finished their on site preliminary investigation, that they left uh, 4 police officers in the park as security, complete in riot gear, which basically says we're freaking out here, so we're bringing firepower because we're freaking out, and that's our best option. Um, she also said that she's consulted with her sisters in the park, and she has asked them to keep an keep a closer eye on things in the park itself because they're very uncomfortable with the police presence in the park. Because out of all of the vampire groups, witchcraft or witches is the one thing that humans know the most about, even though what they know might be wrong. So, you know, witch trials and such.
Mhm.
So, their her sisters have relayed the fact that they are extremely nervous and, you know, have no idea what's going on. And they're like, ah. um, and Tanner suggests something to the prince, which is, should we bring Lucian in uh, to, quote, answer question? Because generally, when you're picked up by the Invictus to, quote, answer questions, there's not a lot of talking that really goes on. And the prince thinks about it for a second and goes, "Let me have my meetings with the council and with my advisory council and with the sanctum, and after that, if I think it's a good idea, we'll go ahead with that." That might bring a backlash from the gangrels, though, so I'm gonna have to be really careful about that sort of thing, because everybody's already hyper.
Right.
Uh, and once again, you see Bello look over at Dexter, who's also in the house because he's not necessarily into goth metal either, more into like 70s biker stuff. And she looks over at him and sort of smiles. And he sees her out of the corner of his eye and he's not really sure what to think because she's been hanging out at the bar every night, but she's never shown any interest in Dexter up till now. So he's like, what in the world is going on with her? And the rest of the night goes by fairly uneventfully. Excuse me. And the party sort of winds down. The prince opens the gifts that he has. He now has enough AB negative to restock his wine cellar thing, which he is pleased with, but um, 'cause that most people know that that's what he drinks, so he got like 3 cases of it by the end of the night. And since it's rare vintage anyway, he's happy about that because now he doesn't have to go buy it. Um,
I imagine it's more expensive than your
oh yeah,
regular.
yeah. It's like, you know, the difference between Dom Perignon champagne and regular wine. It's like, yeah.
Right.
And so that helps his bank account out considerably. And the band starts packing up, and Natalie is starting to have trouble making drinks because she's running out of various ingredients and alcohol because she served a lot. And it's not because the prince didn't have a large supply of alcohol. It's because there's a lot of people and she made a lot of drinks tonight. You know, tonight was like maybe 3 or 4 nights combined at your club, and she did that all in one night. So, as people start to leave, she walks up to the prince and goes, um, you might want to start stocking a tiny bit more alcohol. I know you probably don't go through this much in a night generally, but you are running kind of low, so making another order might be good. Uh, you also might consider a new bartender, because that one didn't work. And um, the prince says, well, you weren't supposed to be the bartender tonight, but I'm glad you ended up doing it. And says, just a second, and walks into the study, comes back out a couple minutes later, hands her an envelope. And he said, I hope you were able to have some fun anyway. She says the band was pretty good. You could hear them all the way in here. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me, while they're packing up, maybe I'll go up to the leader and ask and mention that I own a club and
Okay.
see if they're interested. Then,
So, um, y- you walk out the door, and the bass player and the drummer and the guitarist are putting their instruments back in the hearse. And but the girl, the lead singer, is standing uh, basically by the side of the car. And you walk up to her, and how how does the interaction go?
well, I'll compliment the band and mention that I've got a club. I own a club that they might be interested in playing in. It's a goth club. Like tell her the name and that it's a lot of vampires hang out there.
Do you actually introduce yourself?
Yeah. Yes.
Um, she's like, "Hi, Winter. I'm uh, Celia, and our band is called Orpheus. And where where's your club?"
I'll tell her, but I'll also give her a card.
Okay, 'cause it's got your address and all that on
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, it's got the address and the phone number and all of that.
Yeah, and she's like, hmm, East Village, huh? Don't think we've played in that area before. We're we mostly play the clubs in Manhattan and such. We we've never been in the village.
Well, we actually never had live music, but the prince mentioned that you'd be here, and I was listening to you, and I was impressed. And I was thinking, on our busier nights, maybe Friday and Saturday, uh, up in my RIP section, we could set up.
Uh, just a second. And she walks over to the back of the hearse and shows the card to the rest of the band, and you can hear them talk about it. She walks back and says, um, well, we can definitely give it a try on a Friday and Saturday night. Friday and Saturday night and see what happens. Um, we generally ask for our going rate's 400 a gig. Um, so if you wanted to do Friday and Saturday, that'd be 800. We could give it a try for a week and see how the what your clientele thinks.
That would work.
Um,
I think it would be a good venue for you.
yeah, didn't know there was a vampire club in the village. How long have you been there?
Well, the club's only been there for a little over a year.
Oh,
Actually, it hasn't been quite a year. It's been about 10 months.
hmm. And you just opened the RIP section. No, what, a
Right.
week ago or less? Um, you didn't have a stage before that. So,
Right.
um, yeah. Um, and she reaches into her pocket and pulled out a business business card for the band and gives it to you. Like the you can get a hold of us either. Uh, our phone number's there, so you can call us, text us, or their all their social medias on there. Twitter, Instagram, all that crap.
Mm.
'Cause bands have to do that these days. So, eh, they even have a Spotify thing. They're like, if you want to hear more of our stuff before we show up at the club, we have a Spotify thing too.
Okay.
um, got bands got to hustle these days because you know the old record company thing is dead now. So you're pretty much hustling on your own.
Right.
Um, but thanks for the offer. Um, get us in front of some new people, hopefully.
Yes.
Uh, well, uh, if anything changes, just text us or call or Twitter or whatever. uh,
Okay.
but I'll I'll put that on our calendar, and I'll even do an Instagram thing for it.
Oh, great.
And
Okay.
maybe That way it'll get the fans we already have into your club. So it'll help us both out. But I'm going to say goodbye because we got to finish loading up and probably go home and crash for the night after this.
Right. Well, we'll see you Friday. Thank
Uh,
you.
See you Friday. Good to meet you, Winter.
You too.
And she goes over to the guys in the back and starts helping loading drums and cymbals and stuff. So, and you walk back into the house, and uh, Dexter and Natalie are chatting with Tanner and the Prince and Bella, and you're about the only people left in the house other than the Prince's staff, which he's not real happy with at this point. At least the bartender. Um, Actually, he asked Natalie if she had any suggestions about a possible replacement bartender because that one may not be bartending much longer. In fact, he may not be doing anything much longer. You don't piss off the prince, especially on his birthday.
Right. Like, look, dude, one of my guests ended up spending the whole night bartending because you weren't doing your job. So,
Yeah, real. He's really not happy. So he walks the three of you out uh, to Natalie's Tesla. You know, really nice car. Uh, I've got an actual Bentley, which I think it's a 57 Bentley with don't drive it much, takes a lot of gas. Besides, I have my limo, which is like security and stuff. So, bulletproof windows and stuff like that. So, but uh, we will definitely stay in contact. And he turns to Winter and goes, "Did I see you outside talking to the band?"
yes. I invited them to play at my club a couple nights a week.
Have to stop by while they're playing. I assume they're up in the RIP section.
Right. They'll be there actually Friday and Saturday.
Uh, if I can get away on Saturday, I'll stop by. By then, I should have talked to everybody I need to talk to anyway. And let's hope something else doesn't happen before that.
Right. I hope not.
So,
Enough has been happening as it is.
so with that, he actually opens the door for you to get in the car. He leans down through the window and says, I'll see you guys soon then, probably on Saturday.
All right. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I think you are the first person who said that all night. Um, but with that, he steps back and Natalie presses the button and starts the car, and you, you guys drive off and head back home.
And on the way there, I tell Nat and Dex what the Prince and Tanner and I were talking about. That we all need to keep our ears open in the club and pass anything we hear along to Tanner.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I kind of jokingly I look at Dex and say, maybe I should tell Bella that you and I come as a package deal.
Dexter looks at you like, what? He's like, okay, how big is this group gonna get? And you can see Natalie just busts out laughing, and she's she's got to calm herself down to keep the car on the street, and it's like, jeez. And Natalie goes, so we should probably stick with the feeding clinics for a while until.
Well, that, or like I was telling the Prince, we could cruise town square some night. uh,
Yeah, see, vampires don't get diseases, so it doesn't really matter what any given human might have. Um, might be fun. Uh, with that, you guys make it to your driveway. And you see across the street, you see a Strix in a tree. And you see what you assume is that same um, seven, the one that the Strix attacked.
mhm.
It's sort of sitting cross-legged under the tree. So it's like going wherever the Strix goes because the Strix now controls it. So it's sort of just sitting there, and the Strix is in the tree above his head.
Okay.
They're just sort of hanging out in the tree across the street from your apartment. Just to make things that much stranger if the night wasn't strange enough.
Right.
Um, you guys go in. The three of you plop down on the sofa. Dex says, anybody want some more blood?
Always.
Because he's like, he's got the three bottles, so he's going over to put them in the fridge. He's like, well, I'm over here. Does anybody want any? um, and Natalie goes, you know, why don't we all three have a mug before we turn in for the day? So uh, Dexter pours it, and carries over the three mugs and hands them to you.
Yeah. Okay.
We're actually almost done.
Yeah. I
Uh,
just took Chase for a walk, and apparently a car was veering. It was like trying to hit the dog. It's like that's not very nice.
some people are stupid, and that's putting it politely. Um, that's when you wish there were real vampires in the world. You can suggest who they go after.
Right.
Um, but Dexter's like, you know, haven't been a vampire very long, but there seems to be as much drama with you guys as there are humans. And then you got the added factor of not being able to let the humans know what we are, so you gotta hide on top of that.
Right.
Lucky that we have the club and we don't really have to hide much. Uh, he takes a sip and he sets the cup down and goes, I don't really understand the whole Bella thing tonight. You know, I know your comment earlier was a joke, but
Who was it though?
she comes to the club every night, is there the entire time that we're open, and she's never shown any interest in me or the two of you until tonight. So I don't know what to make of that.
Hmm, I don't either.
Um, the, I saw Tanner talk to her, and then she left and was gone for a while and came back. So,
Yes, he sent her to the park to see what else she could find out.
uh, so what should we do about her?
Well, I imagine she will end up being a pretty good source of information, actually. She hangs out at the park, her sisters hang out at the park. She hears everything. I think that's why she hangs out in my club. She likes gossip. So, She may be handy to keep around.
Well, no doubt she hears God knows what at the club. But so if she keeps flirting, I should do what?
Well, flirt back.
Okay. Um,
And how can you be sure I was joking?
okay. Uh, then my question from earlier applies. How big is this little group gonna get?
Well, she's not going to move in with us.
No, probably not. Although it does make you wonder. She spends all night at the club. Where does she go after that? Where does where does she sleep during the day?
I'm sure she's got a place. I don't know. Maybe she and her sisters live together.
Probably true. Okay. And Natalie's just sitting over on the sofa, not saying anything, just sort of smiling like, because she's like the compared to her, the two of you are newbies basically, and yeah, she's been through this whole thing before because she's been a vampire for 30, 40 years. She was turned back in the 80s and shit. So she's been through all, God knows how many, quote, relationships, even though vampires don't technically have them. Uh,
And I mean, if you're a vampire, you, like you said, can't catch any diseases.
right.
So,
And back in the 80s in New York City, you had, Club 54 and that whole thing. So she's probably got stories like crazy. And she's just sort of sitting there smiling, going, thinking to herself, you know, you guys are still holding on to too much human crap. Vampires don't do that. If we want, if we want to sleep with somebody, we invite them over and sleep with them. It's like,
well, that's what we're talking about doing.
well, yeah, but Dexter's like having this big, you know, he's only been a vampire for a couple months, and then he, and then the night he got turned, he had the first threesome he's ever had, and he lived with two women roommates, and he's going, and now there's another one flirting with him, and he's like, his brain is having trouble processing all this. And
Well, I kind of look at him and be like, she can just be our little toy.
well, he hasn't processed in his head that things have gone from, you know, the way humans interact too. Vampires are basically friends with benefits
Hmm.
and sleep with anything.
Yeah,
and
that cute little lead singer. I may have to.
oh, Celia, yeah, she's quite adorable little thing. Got the whole dark goth white makeup thing going on. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, I may have to get closer to her too. Because yeah, Winter, while she's wary of humans, is a little hornball around other vampires.
Uh, and then, and Celia's a wannabe rock star, so if she has to sleep with a couple of club owners here and there to get to where she wants to be, she doesn't have a problem with that. Unlike human rock stars who, scream about this and that. Vampires are like, let's let's have fun. Well, now that we've had fun, what can you do for me? So she's cool with that. And, you know, you got a bed up in the VI in the RIP section. So everything would be cool. Uh, so you guys are having this conversation and it dawns on Dex. It's like, if that's the way it goes, why haven't the three of us done more stuff together?
You've never expressed the desire for that.
Well, he basically said something about it the morning after you did it. But you guys have been so busy that by the time you get home most nights, you're so exhausted that you and Natalie haven't even done a whole lot together for the last, month or two. It's like, uh, so with all your running around in the park and uh, investigating stuff and the weird
Hmm.
shit that's happening, you guys are usually exhausted by the time you get home. So,
Well, maybe we should take the time to have a little hunting date night, the three of us.
Natalie's like, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Is your club open 7 days a week, or so you guys don't take a day off?
Well, we if we planned ahead and made flyers and informed our patrons, we could.
Cause you're gonna have to make flyers for Orpheus on Friday and Saturday night anyway.
Hmm.
So something like the first band in our new RIP room.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And maybe, by the way, we're closed Sunday this week.
Well, because after Friday and Saturday, you might need to be closed on Sunday, uh, depending on how Friday and Saturday go. So, yeah. And so the three of you finish your blood and basically crash again because this has been a very long, very stressful night. In fact, Natalie falls asleep while you and Dexter are talking. She falls asleep on the sofa because she bartended all night. People don't actually realize how much a shift of bartending takes out of people because you're going back and forth all.
Yeah.
Um, so do you leave Natalie there?
No, it's the blackout curtains are in the bedroom. So,
Yeah, if you left her there, she'd be dead by morning.
yeah, that's not the goal.
Yeah. So Dexter walks over and picks her up and takes her into your room and lays her on the bed. Boof. And, and he's like, okay, see you tomorrow night. uh, Definitely on for Sunday. uh, we'll probably end up seeing Bella tomorrow night too, for that matter.
Yes, I imagine we will.
Uh, and he goes off into his room for the day. He says, oh, and as he's leaving, he's like, gonna feel really nice to get back into my leather tomorrow night. His monkey suit's ridiculous.
But you do look very vampiric.
Eh, it's from watching old vampire movies. Hope I don't have to use it very often. Sort of gives the whole thing away, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, I imagine if the prince throws a birthday party next year is the next time you'll have to pull it out.
Well, he says maybe I'll get something different by then. Now that I actually have a decent job and have money and stuff. Because literally, if you were walking down the street in boots, black pants, a ruffly long sleeve shirt, and a vest, what would most people think? Either,
Well, either that you've just been to the Ren Fair or that you're a vampire.
right, yeah. So,
Or that you're some sort of weird street musician who thinks they're some kind of bard.
yeah, really. So, and so you go in and you get Natalie undressed out of the almost formal stuff she was wearing. You get yourself out of your dress and your heels and you climb into bed next to Natalie, who's still unconscious and is not long before you are asleep. Because it's been a very stressful day for you, too. Because when you three got up this morning or this evening, you weren't expecting the night to go this way. And that is where we'll leave it for tonight. Um, so did you have fun? um, One thing I will tell our audience is that October, my plan is we're gonna sort of alternate between vampire and uh, our D&D game, sort of as whatever game we're feeling like playing that Sunday night. But starting in November, first and third Sundays are going to be Fallen Dragons, and then second and fourth is going to be Vampire. And then if there's ever a month where there's the fifth Sunday, we'll just sort of decide what we want to play. I may decide to do like every fifth Sunday, every month that there's the fifth Sunday in, I could do a Call of Cthulhu one shot. That way it wouldn't mess up the, you know, first and third, second and fourth thing on the calendar. So that is my thought on how that's going to go. Actually, I might not do one shots. I might actually start an ongoing Cthulhu thing that we just play every fifth Sunday.
And one shots never really end up being one shots.
Now they end up being two. And I've looked at things. I've looked at one shots that other groups have done, and they end up being 4 or 5 hours. So if you want to play 4 or 5 hours, you can do a one shot.
Well, I wouldn't mind that, but I don't know how Melody
Yeah,
or Patrick would feel about it.
because if you combine the 2 days of my one shots, they're generally like 5 hours if you add them together. So if you want to play 4 or 5 hours, we could do it one shot, but uh, the people I have playing generally don't want to do that. Now, if Josh comes back, if you and Josh were doing it, you two would probably do it.
Yes.
But um, but back to that. That's my general thought on the way um, things are gonna go. Um, might do Cthulhu, might do Mage because there's nobody doing Mage right now either. Do a Victorian Mage thing, but I'll think about that part. But that's how the Fallen Dragons and Vampires gonna go anyway. Um, but October will be interesting because you'll never know what we play until we decide what we're gonna play. Usually like 3 hours before we start playing. So, but, and I think that's all for now, unless you got something you you want to plug your upcoming book that's supposed to be out on Halloween.
Yeah, my fourth book of short stories should be out around Halloween, hopefully. You can find it on Amazon.
When that comes out, I'll put it in the description, and you guys can go out and buy bunches of copies for that for Christmas for everybody that you know.
And my three other books that are on
Yeah,
Amazon.
buy them all as a set and give them out for Christmas. So, and with that, I think we'll say good night. This should be up on YouTube um, probably Tuesday. So, hope you guys out there had fun with this episode. Well, and the ones who watch us on YouTube will see it in a couple days. Hope you guys enjoy that too. We'll see you next week.
See you next time.
Bye.